Celtic take on Kazakhstan champs Kairat Almaty tomorrow night at Celtic Park in a game been billed as a £40 million tie. It's a real jackpot for Celtic. It's a huge bonus to be there, but there's ongoing frustration that we haven't done the required work to prepare a squad for this. However, we'll go through all that and much more in this countdown to kick-off episode. This is Tino, joined here for this one by Greg over in Nova Scotia. Greg, your general feelings at the moment ahead of this one?
Yeah, hi Tino. Good to be on, especially on the lives. Looking forward to the game, albeit would much rather not have a qualifier to go through and be directly into the group stages, but it is what it is. Look, on paper, it's a tie. It's an awkward tie, but it's one we should look at and be confident of going through. It's a bit of a kind of spooky away tie for us. Time difference, travel time, etc. makes it difficult, but they still have to come to Parkhead under the same conditions. So I'm looking forward to the game tomorrow. I think it'll be a cracking atmosphere. Again, I think it was alluded to in the show the other night. The fans have been brilliant. The games have been good, and it's kind of distracted us from off-field antics, shall we say. So I think everybody will get behind the team tomorrow. Hopefully we can get a positive result. We really need a positive home result to take over there next week. So looking forward to it and looking forward to a really good atmosphere, Tino.
Yeah, and despite the ongoing transfer stuff and we've gone on about it at length as everybody else, it's actually a breath of fresh air just to get back to football and look forward to what will be a big night at Celtic Park. And obviously the hope is that we're there at Champions League proper beyond this tie. But this is a biggie, and it comes around early in the season, and new guys are bedding in. Negren, maybe guys like Shin Yamada, maybe one or two others. And obviously we'd like more guys to be there, but that won't be the case. The squad is what it is for now. And I think by and large the players have handled it pretty well. The opening games, Greg, so let's look at it. 1-0 St Mirren, 2-0 Aberdeen, a comfortable 4-1 at Falkirk. Credit to the players. They've just got on with their job in the meantime.
They really have, and actually the attacking or the lack of attacking options has kind of overshadowed what has been really competent defensively. Midfield, some of the passages of play have looked really slick. So actually taking away from our shortcomings and adding to attacking options, we've looked really good, and it has been a positive start to the season. And again, I don't know too much about Almaty tomorrow, but again, you're thinking with what we're going to put our starting 11, we should have enough. It's just the jeopardy attached to the tie and putting additional pressure onto us by not maybe bringing in a few more quality signings off field. It just puts us under unnecessary pressure again, and we've kind of had that narrative the whole way along the last 3 or 4 games. It's unnecessary pressure been put onto one game, and it's such a massive game in terms of the landscape for the rest of the season for Celtic on and off the pitch.
Yeah, now you say you don't know much about Kazakhstan football, and that disappoints me because I was coming to you for my Kazakh expertise. I'm the same. I was reading a few different things in advance of this, and you could dig into it and look at who their main men are and how they play and all that kind of stuff. Actually, the real focus should be on Celtic in terms of this tie, and if the best version of Celtic turn up, we win. There's no question of that. They do have a young striker. Let me get his name. They've got a lad who's just turned 16, Dastan Satpayev. He hit the penalty in the first leg of their game against Slovan Bratislava, and he seems to be their main man. He's only just turned 17 a week ago on the 12th of August, so he'll be a threat, no doubt, and there's other guys that we'll need to look out for. But Brendan Rodgers and the backroom staff will have done their work, and I'm sure they're prepared for whatever they throw at us. I was at Celtic Park this afternoon, so I was there for the press conference speaking to Callum McGregor initially and then Brendan Rodgers. And both seem quietly confident that, we know how they operate when they speak to the press now, but very balanced individuals, quietly confident that we've got more than enough within the group to take care of business here. I'll cover a wee bit more later in the piece in terms of moving beyond this tie if we're lucky enough to get through. But in the meantime, Greg, would you agree that the squad, as it stands, frustratingly as it stands, is still capable of such a tie?
Yeah, it's funny how we always end up playing against a team with a wonder kid, isn't it? It seems to always happen to us, and I think Chelsea are linked with him or possibly a pre-contract. But yeah, they're a bit of an unknown, but again, on paper, you would look at it and say, out all the ties, and looking at Bratislava last year, how we took care of them, and they've beaten Bratislava over 2 legs, you would think we have enough, even with a lack of signings, to go and put on a positive result. The thing is, you just need to, and again, it's going back to this idea of putting more pressure in yourself. The home tie, you just don't want to win that one 1-0 and sneak it over the line and then have to take that result away from home. You really need to be looking at a 3 or 4-0 scoreline. it was an Astana we went away to, and I think we'd won the first leg really, really convincingly, and it was hanging in the balance going into the last 10 minutes or so. So the travel will impact the players without doubt. The time difference will impact the players without doubt. So it is a tricky tie, and it just puts that more pressure on tomorrow night's game. But yeah, we should have enough on paper to beat them.
Yeah, and just obviously, taking the whole tie into consideration and looking at the fact that it's a mammoth journey out there, and of course they need to make the journey here, so it goes both ways, but huge journey out there. There is, I think it's a 5-hour time difference, albeit apparently Celtic are going to stay on UK time just to stay as, I suppose, awake and alert as possible without having to adjust in that way. There'll be some temperature differences and everything else that goes into the mix. And on that note, would you expect Celtic to really come out the traps aggressively tomorrow? That's the word that's been bandied around, in the hope that we can secure I would say the minimum 3-0 lead that you'd want to take out there.
Yeah, I do. Actually, I think they didn't have a very good result on Saturday. I believe they get beat 3-2. I don't know whether they rested players or whether it was just a bit of a freak result. But I would expect Celtic to come flying out the traps. I think Rodgers alluded to it again, that first 5 minutes he spoke about after the Falkirk game, rather than this first 15 minute, 20 minutes. He's now talking to players in terms of the first 5 minutes, which I think is really shrewd management. It's really clever. And I think Celtic will come flying out. I think they'll sit quite compact and quite defensively. As a team, I think they'll...
Okay everyone, we're going to leave it there for now on this one, but if you'd like to watch the full episode, you can do that right now by joining us over on Patreon at patreon.com/Celtic Exchange. As a member, you'll get access to the rest of this episode, plus all of our additional shows, including pre- and post-match shows for every game, a range of extra episodes throughout the week, and loads more from the team here at Celtic Exchange. It only takes a couple of minutes to sign up, and once you're in, you can continue watching the show on your device or directly on the brilliant Patreon app. So that's patreon.com/Celtic Exchange, or just click the link in the show notes. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you over on Patreon shortly.